वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैस्तिकी मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम् ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानजनशालाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते जयपताक स्वामिनिति नाम्ने नमाचार्यपदाय निताय कृपप्रदायिनि गौरकथा दामदाय नगर ग्राम तारिणी नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नाम्ने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रीमद् भागवतम Canto 4 Chapter 9 Text 32 मतिर विदूषिता देवै पतद्भिर असहिष्णुभिः यो नारद वचस्तत्यं नागराहिषं asattama. Since all the demigods who are situated in the higher planetary system will have to come down again, they are all envious of my being elevated to Vaikuntha Loka by devotional service. Dhruva Maharaja, he is thinking within himself. Since all the demigods are situated in the higher planetary system, will have to come down again. They are all envious of my being elevated to Vaikuntha Loka by devotional service. This intolerant demigods have dissipated my intelligence, and only for this reason could I not accept the genuine benediction of the instructions of sage Narada. Purport, as shown by many instances in the Vedic literature, when a person undergoes severe austerities, demigods become very much perturbed because they're always afraid of losing their posts as the predominating deities of the heavenly planets. It is known to them that their position in the higher planetary system is impermanent, as it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita 9th chapter, Kshine Punye Martya Lokam Vishanti. It is said in the Gita that after exhausting the results of their pious activities, all the demigods who are inhabitants of the higher planetary system have to come back again to this earth. It is a fact that the demigods control the different activities of the limbs of our bodies. Factually, we are not free even in moving our eyelids. Everything is controlled by them. It's like a mannequin in the shop, this big dolls which are decorated. Our body is like that, and everything is controlled by the devatas under the instruction of Maya Devi. Now, Dhruv Maharaj regretted. It is a fact. Factually, we are not free even in moving our eyelids. Everything is controlled by them. Dhruv Maharaja's conclusion is that these demigods, being envious of his superior position in devotional service, conspired against him to pollute his intelligence. And thus, although he was the disciple of a great Vaishnava, Narada Muni, he could not accept Narada's valid instructions. Now Dhruva Maharaja regretted very much that he had neglected these instructions. Narada Muni had asked him, why should you bother about insult or adoration from your stepmother? He, of course, said to Dhruva Maharaja that since Dhruva was only a child, what did he have to do with such insult or adoration? But Dhruva Maharaja was determined to achieve the benediction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead And therefore, Narada advised him to go back home for the time being, and in mature time, he could try to practice devotional service. Dhruva Maharaja regretted that he had rejected the advice of Narada Muni and was adamant in asking him for something perishable, namely revenge against his stepmother for her insult and possession of the kingdom of his father. Dhruva Maharaja regretted very much that he could not take seriously the instruction of his spiritual master and that his consciousness was therefore contaminated. Still, the Lord is so merciful that due to Dhruva's execution of devotional service, he offered Dhruva the ultimate Vaishnava goal. So many things which are not mentioned very elaborately, we come to know that is that the Devatas were actually feeling jealous of Dhruva Maharaja and they were harassing him in many ways. One, I mean, how did Dhruva Maharaja know that the Devatas about their envy and all that? Because he had actually experienced it. And now he's thinking that in the beginning also they have influenced me so that I could not accept Narada Muni's instructions and instead was only thinking of material benedictions. Because Narada Muni, Dhruva Maharaj, what propelled him? I mean, in the beginning, the motivation for him to do devotional service was something very material and in the mode of passion. He wanted revenge of his stepmother, and also he wanted the position of, like his father, he wanted his throne. So it was, but he was determined to achieve it by going to Krishna. That is the exalted thing. The four types of pious people, Krishna says, who come to me. He could have been an impious person. Normally, those who don't go to Krishna, what do? They too take up some material means of opposing in their own hands. So his mother, whatever with her supporters, they could have done something, fought against the king, or protested that he is the firstborn, so he only should be like that. So many things could have happened, or Dhruva himself could have gone and I don't know what they could have done, but something. Normally people try like that. But here it is to the mother's credit. His mother is the one who advised him that go to Krishna. So that requires a very great intelligence, broad mindedness, and faith in God. So, but because, the thing is that the Devatas, they were very scared actually of losing their own position because he was wanting a position greater than Brahma's. So now Indra is always scared that people are aspiring for his position. And even Brahmaji, imagine if Brahmaji, okay, Brahmaji, now you're gone, no more, you're not in the seat of Brahma. Now Dhruva is going to become Brahma. Then that was a great fear because he had done tapasya for how many lifetimes? 100 lifetimes of performing Varnashrama properly. Then you get a chance to be Brahma. And so they all actually tried to stop his meditation. I don't know, maybe it's because I heard in a lecture that how Dhruva Maharaja, it must have been mentioned in some other Puranas. So they were mentioning how different devatas came and tried to frighten Dhruva, or in the form of a big beast or, weapons coming or, ghastly people attacking him or in his ear saying all frightful things like, hey, Dhruva, your mother is dying, things like that. So, but Dhruva was so determined. He didn't hear them. Can you see how much focus we should be to not mind all these temporary things which are, as every devotee will be, we face and face so many obstacles, so many things which trouble us and which can be an obstacle in our full focus, full surrender to Krishna. But Dhruva, imagine, he had such a great determination to see Krishna that none of these other things disturbed him. That is to his credit, how determined he was in devotional service, whatever may be our motivations, whatever may be our impurities. Because even while he was meditating, he had this desire for this kingdom and also revengeful attitude towards his stepmother. And yet, he did not mind all those thoughts. He continued with the devotional service, and that is how he was able to captivate the Lord and capture him in his heart. He could see the Paramatma all the time. And then when the Lord actually appeared outside, so we see Bhagavan realization gives even more happiness. Paramatma realization gave him quite a lot of happiness. He was very happy. He was so, completely lost in meditating on the Paramatma. But then, because the Devatas, because the whole universe started trembling because of Dhruva Maharaja's meditation, his foot was pressed against the earth, and the weight of the Lord in his heart was causing an imbalance. And so the Devatas went to the Lord and complained, what is happening? Why is this universe so disturbed? And then the Lord said, don't worry, it's my devotee only. Because of that, I will go and settle it. So he came immediately. And actually, when the Lord came, the Lord within, he manifested outside as Bhagavan. And Dhruva Maharaja, the minute he could not see the Lord in his heart, he became very disturbed and he opened his eyes. Otherwise, his eyes were tightly shut. And so the Lord, he wanted to see him outside. And when he saw him as Bhagavan, he became so ecstatic. That is when he realized, oh, Krishna, why are you giving me all these things? Now I got diamond. I was looking for some broken glasses. So we can see how Bhagavan realization is the ultimate and is full of ananda. And so, and he is saying that now he is regretting why he did not listen to his spiritual master's words. This is very, important that we understand that whatever the Guru says may not be very appealing to our mind. A Guru is saying only pure devotional service, unmotivated, okay, anya bilashita sunyam, and no sense gratification. Oh, it's very tough. No, no, I cannot do like this. Maybe I will compromise a bit because right now we are talking about immediate comfort and we compromise. Doesn't matter. Okay, we don't have to break our head like that. Anyway, I'm doing the basic things, 4x chanting. That is all I promised. I promised on the initiation, I will chant 16 rounds, 4x. Now, what about all these other things? Anya, Bilasita, Sunyam, and all that. That is all too much. So, suppose we compromise like that, then at the end, we'll regret, like Dhruva Maharaja. Oh, what happened to my brains at the end of life when we have to go back to Godhead? And then we don't go back to Godhead. Somewhere else, we are stuck up. And that is when we'll regret, oh, I thought I'll go back to Godhead and then see I'm stuck up here, or maybe we have to take another birth here only on the earth or in the heavenly planets. That's even worse because the life there is much, much longer. So that is another this thing for us that, an indicator or an example for us that even though it is difficult, we may not be able to fully follow whatever the instructions of the Guru, but we don't change it. We don't change and say, no, it's not required. We should struggle. Oh, Gurudev, I'm not able to follow. Please help me. We can cry to him. I'm not able to follow your instructions. Please help me. That's all. We just need to cry. And Gurudev is very merciful. He'll elevate us. Help give us the strength bit by bit. So no devotee can complain and say what to do. I'm helpless. Nobody is helpless because if you are connected with Krishna, then we may be helpless, but help is there. If you don't take his help, that is when, a very nice quotation today I saw and I forwarded it to some. Prabhupada's. 1 minute. Prabhupada says, you mentioned that your pathway has become filled with stumbling blocks, but there are no stumbling blocks. I can kick out all those stumbling blocks immediately, provided you accept my guidance. With one stroke of my kick, I can kick out all stumbling blocks. Prabhupada, letter to Krishnadas, September 9th. Oh, today is September 9th, right? 1972. Today is 8th or 9th? 8th. Okay.
Today is
Today
9th, Mataji. 9th,
Today is
Mataji.
9th.
Yes, Mataji. Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Same day. Prabhupada spoke these words. Yes. Okay. So anyway, that's what today is, wonderful quotation. Prabhupada, he says, there can't be any stumbling blocks. I'll kick them out. But you have to take my guidance. And there can't be any other sweeter spiritual father than Prabhupada. One thing which, another thing which he had said was, even you're a drunkard, you're fond of tasting wine. I should recommend that you simply think that this taste of wine is Krishna. That will make a yogi of you. That will make you the greatest yogi. If you simply think this, that I'm tasting wine, oh, very nice taste. This is Krishna. Imagine who can be a better spiritual master, more merciful, how to come out of our horrible state of mind by connecting everything to Krishna. So that is why Prabhupada said, I can kick out all stumbling blocks, but take my guidance. And he actually, he advised a devotee who came and told him, American devotee, Prabhupada, I'm chanting some rounds, but I'm not able to give up this. He obviously was not chanting 16 rounds, some rounds, but I'm not able to give up, drinking alcohol. Prabhupada very compassionately said, no problem. Whenever you're drinking, before drinking, offer it to Krishna in your mind and then drink. And he really followed that. And within no time, he lost the taste for drinks because he was thinking, that's what he said, you'll become a greatest yogi by thinking of Krishna. So when when you're trying to drink wine, obviously you'll be in a very sense gratificatory mood. And that's how people fall down more and more. But he, instead of thinking of sense gratification, you're thinking of Krishna who purifies. So before drinking, he was thinking of Krishna. Not only that, he was offering it to Krishna mentally. And so his mind got purified. He got a higher taste. And very soon he thought, I don't feel like having it. So this is kind of revolutionary methods. I don't know of any other, I've never heard any other, spiritual head talk like this, how to come out of all our weaknesses. Prabhupada is brilliant in very practical, how to dovetail. There's no greater expert than him in dovetailing everything in Krishna consciousness. Only one thing he said you cannot dovetail, and that is envy. Envy you cannot dovetail. You can't say, okay, because you cannot envy Krishna. That is why we are here. So how to come out of that? We have to pull it out. That is one thing you cannot dovetail. Everything else you can dovetail. You can dovetail lust. You can dovetail pride. You can dovetail anger, everything except envy. And for envy, what we should do, we should just, we should, of course, we understand the whole philosophy. Envy is also out of ignorance. And this envy comes from, all forms of envy which we feel towards people or and so on is all coming from our original envy of Krishna. And it's easy to give up envy towards Krishna. And what kind of competition is this? He is the supreme Lord, everything is resting on him. And I'm trying to become like him, an enjoyer. But he is the only enjoyer. Nobody else is. So why should I try to compete with him? Ridiculous. Why do I try to become like Krishna? It's impossible. And not only that, even his own expansions, they are getting so much joy out of serving his lotus feet. They give up all their, they don't even think, oh, I'm also a Lord. They think I am a humble servant of Krishna. So it is easy to, through knowledge and understanding, we can give up envy towards Krishna. How can we be as beautiful as Krishna or even try to enjoy like that? All beauty is coming from him only. So why should I try to enjoy like him? Why am I trying to be an enjoyer like Krishna? It's impossible. I've got enough kicks in this material world, life after life. So it's easy to give up envy towards Krishna. And then there won't be envy towards anyone. So if we feel envious towards anyone, we should focus our envy towards Krishna. Oh, Krishna, I'm feeling envy towards this person because of my envy towards you. What a rascal I am. How can I be envious of you? You're my supreme father. I'm part of you. You love me so much. And I'm such a rascal that I want to be an enjoyer like you. And if we give up our envy towards Krishna, then no envy will remain in our heart. So envy, you have to completely wipe it out. There's no dovetailing. But other than that, everything Prabhupada has taught us how to dovetail and come out of it. That's why he said, all obstacles I'll kick out, all stumbling blocks. That is the lion guru we have, Prabhupada. And um, so Dhruv Maharaja is regretting very much. He said, I had such a nice guru, Narad Muni, and we have Prabhupada in the same lineage. So we should not neglect any instruction of Prabhupada. We should not do Ardha Kukuti Nyaya, that half a hen, hen, the hen which, that part of the hen which delivers the egg, I will accept. But the mouth part of the hen which I have to feed, I reject. So that is people, who take only things. Bhagavad Gita, for example, whichever verses are conducive to me, I will accept. The other part which are difficult, I will avoid. You can't do that. You have to take everything. If you say you're following Bhagavad Gita, every verse you have to follow. You can't say, no, no, certain verses I will follow. I'm also following Bhagavad Gita. Every verse. So completely, you have to accept whatever Prabhupada says. I accept. Maybe I'm not qualified to follow it completely, but I don't reject it. I'm trying to follow, trying as much as if we are determined and we take shelter of Prabhupada and Gurudev, then they can kick out all the stumbling blocks for us. So we cannot argue that, oh, I'm helpless, what to do, I cannot. Why did Krishna put me in Maya? Why didn't the Gurudev pull me out? Nothing like that. We are responsible. And so, but see the expertise of such a guru, Narada Muni, Dhruv Maharaja was determined to achieve the benediction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore Narada advised him to go back home for a long time being. No, no. Initially, of course, he tried to test him also, and he told, why as a child you want to do all this? But when he was determined, then Narada gave him such a wonderful, the mantra also and the worship, how to perform. He knew by doing all this, he'll get purified. So that's the expertise of the spiritual master who knows how to engage each devotee according to his capacity and how that the medicine will work. When we go to the doctor, we don't know what the medicine will do. We just see some tablets, something, it is as anything. We don't even know how strong it is. That's why many times we don't have also, because we think what this medicine is going to do, no use. But the doctor knows. He knows our body, how it's working, what this medicine is going to do. So if it's a good doctor, then we surrender to his instructions and we follow, even though we don't know what's the efficacy of that medicine. So similarly, the guru is the doctor who knows everything, how the medicine is going to work on us. So Dhruv Maharaja regretted very much that he could not take seriously the instruction of his spiritual master and that his consciousness was therefore contaminated. Still, the Lord is so merciful that due to Dhruva's execution of devotional service, he offered Dhruva the ultimate Vaishnava goal. Dhruva Maharaja followed whatever procedure Narada Muni had given him, followed very carefully. Only the motivation part he could not check. So we learn lesson from here that we should be very careful about what is the motivation behind what we are doing. If we have material motivations, we might be fulfilled materially, but spiritual perfection will get delayed. And later on, what's the point? Regretting and regretting. Oh, I wish, why did I waste my time? Like students going to college and waste all the time in the university, having fun, doing something else. And at the end, they regret, oh, I wish now everything is spoiled. I didn't get good marks. I will not get a good job, all these things. So it's not good to regret like that. Better not to regret only. And we know what is the method of following the spiritual master's instructions. Daivim mayam upashritya prasupta iva bhinna dhrik tapye dvitiyepi asati bhratrivya kridrucha. Dhruva Maharaja lamented, I was under the influence of the illusory energy, being ignorant of the actual facts. I was sleeping on her lap under a vision of duality. I saw my brother as my enemy, and falsely I lamented within my heart, thinking they are my enemies. Real knowledge is revealed to a devotee only when he comes to the right conclusion about life by the grace of the Lord. Our creation of friends and enemies within this material world is something like dreaming at night. In dreams, we create so many things out of various impressions in the subconscious mind, but all such creations are simply temporary and unreal. In the same way, although apparently we are awake in material life, because we have no information of the soul and the super soul, we create many friends and enemies simply out of imagination. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that within this material world or material consciousness, good and bad are the same. The distinction between good and bad is simply a mental concoction. The actual fact is that all living entities are sons of God or byproducts of his marginal energy. Because of our being contaminated by the modes of material nature, we distinguish one spiritual spark from another. That is also another kind of dreaming. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita that those who are actually learned do not make any distinction between a learned scholar, a brahmana, an elephant, a dog, and a chandala. They do not see in terms of the external body. Rather, they see the person as spirit soul. By higher understanding, one can know that the material body is nothing but a combination of the five material elements. In that sense, also, bodily construction of a human being and that of a demigod are one and the same. From the spiritual point of view, we're all spiritual sparks, parts and parcels of the Supreme Spirit God. Either materially or spiritually, we are basically one. But we make friends and enemies as dictated by the illusory energy. Dhruva Maharaja therefore said, Daivim Mayam Upashritya. The cause of his bewilderment was his association with the illusory material energy. So now he has got the intelligence. Why? Why he should distinguish like that? Because when you know Atma and Paramatma, nothing happens to us without Paramatma's sanction. He is there. If even actually Dhruva Maharaja, when Narad Muni advised him like that, he could have, if he had the knowledge, then he would have thought, Okay, nothing happens without Krishna's sanction. Krishna must have done all this for a good purpose. Maybe so that I will become detached. Because his uncle had renounced and gone. Priyavrata, he was the elder son. He had to take up the kingdom, but he was not interested. And he went and was doing meditation. So he could have, he knows, so he could have thought, okay, maybe Krishna wants me to renounce. Okay, I will also become like uncle. He could have taken, okay, Narada Muni, I still want to do tapasya so that my mind will not be disturbed, so that I can become self realized. Please instruct me. Then what would have happened when he did all this tapasya? And he would have even before 6 months, because his motivation was very pure. And I mean, if his motivation had been pure, then Krishna would have come on Garuda and said, "Come, my son, I'm going to take you back home." That is what Dhruva was anticipating would happen. But instead, the Lord said, "No, no, you decided, so you enjoy. And anyway, but you will not lose your consciousness." He gave him at a stage when Dhruva was ready, mature. Krishna will not do a foolish thing of a devotee goes through so much tapasya, and then he sees the Lord. I mean, he gets whatever he likes, and then through that he falls down more. And what's the purpose of all that? Krishna will not unnecessarily make a devotee go through all that. That's why he waited. I mean, Dhruva Maharaja became very strong, and he really wanted to serve him. He didn't want, I mean, he knew that the material energy will not disturb him. See his lamentation. Now he's really lamenting. Why? I was in Maya. Why did I think of when I saw my brother as my enemy, and falsely lamented within my heart, thinking they are my enemies? So he was disturbed so much by that. And so I mean, those are under the modes of material nature. We imagine so many things. That's why we have two ways of seeing every situation. One situation is from the material perspective. So many people, that one is my enemy. Really, how much is suffer made me suffer? How do you say he's not my enemy? That is when you see materially, yes. There are enemies and friends. There are people who are your well wishers. There are people who are not. So then, whoever is my well wisher is my friend and my enemy. That is very superficial perception of material reality. But if you go deeper and see from a spiritual perspective, and you say, who can harm me? Enemy is, he is doing according to his karma, his whatever mentality, and for some reason he hates me. Maybe there is a cause, or we don't know the cause also, why, out of envy or whatever. So if somebody is doing that, then we know that nothing can harm us. Krishna is there. Not a blade of grass moves without his desiring it, without his will. So maybe Krishna, being my friend, is not going to unnecessarily make me suffer. So he's allowing whatever suffering a person is giving me, it must be only for my purification. So a devotee is very humble, and he's always thinking, he has complete faith in Krishna that whatever he does for him is always best for him. So he has no doubt about all these. Why? I mean, how can Krishna be so cruel? How can he allow another person to harm? Then where is his promise that he will always protect us? So sometimes devotees get disturbed like that, but no, if something is happening in spite of our devotional service, then it is good for us because it's bringing us closer to Krishna. So, I mean, in Dhruva's case also, it's true. Only because his stepmother spoke like that, he thought of God. Otherwise, he would have also been just playing around like his stepbrother and so on. He would have been not so focused, have been a materialist. So, in that sense, it is always like that. Suhridam sarva bhutanam. When we understand that Krishna is a well-wishing friend of everyone, gyatva mam shantim richati, then only can we have peace of mind. How else? When we know that the Lord is there, and he's my best friend, my best well-wishing friend, then we can relax. Oh, yes, I know. Not only do I have a person who's genuinely my well-wisher, no, and he has the qualifications to protect me also. Material life, we take shelter of this one and that one, and how much can they protect us or this thing? They are limited and not so intelligent like Krishna, who can be a better friend and protector and guide than Krishna, and the spiritual master who's a representative of Krishna. So, and he's saying, so we should not see according to the external body, rather we should see the person as spirit soul. By higher understanding, one can know material body is nothing but a combination of the five material elements. In that sense, also, the bodily construction of a human being and that of a demigod are one and the same. From the spiritual point of view, we are all spirit sparks, parts and parcels of Supreme Spirit God. So, Dhruv Maharaja was more successful than the heavenly planets, demigods, right? Because that's what he is thinking. Under a vision of duality, um, so he was saying that I was under the influence of the illusory energy, being ignorant of the actual facts. I was sleeping on a lap. And he's saying that he's thinking that because the Devatas only put me in such illusion so that I could not completely surrender and become a pure devotee. So either whatever materially, we are all basically one. So when we see that, see, this is the why India is going to be the leader, Vishwa Guru, and all that has been predicted. Why? Because it is ingrained in our culture, in our philosophy, to see the soul, Atma, in everyone. So that is why we are balanced. We don't say, oh, wow, you're my friend, enemy. What is this friend and enemy? It's all, I scratch your back, you scratch my back for now. And I want something from you, and I can become your enemy also. It is all about self. So there is no real friend or enemy. It's all pure politics. But India also, the duty of a head of a state of India is to first see what is good for our country. But at the same time, we have some values, we have some ethics, principles, and we see that everybody also has to coexist. I'm not going to exist at the cost of others. I'm not going to just, think, I will try to destroy their country so that I can get all their wealth, with which other people are doing it, right? The, they are just, they don't mind, they interfere in the country's electoral processes, and they try to put somebody who will be favorable for policies that they want so that their business can flourish in their kingdom. I mean, they do all these kind of manipulative things constantly happening, but only India, Bharat, is showing the way. Vasudeva Kutumbikam, we are not interested in taking anybody's land, grabbing their businesses. We are satisfied. We'll do our best, honest living, whatever comes through that, that's more than enough. Why do I need to put my this thing everywhere? I want to use every country as my base in order to conquer and control, and that is demonic thoughts. So that is how a devotee, because of surrendering to Krishna, he knows this whole thing is a big dream. All those who are not in Krishna consciousness are thinking something, it's such an enjoyable thing. Suppose I get all the wealth of this world. Still, I'm not happy. I'm a multinational company. I've got companies in every possible country, and still I'm not satisfied. Uh, Something or the other, I want to expand my business and I want to kick out anybody who's a threat on the way, thinking I'm going to be happy. For how long you are going to live, even you don't know. Then what are you planning about? It's all a dream. Because we know, just like the dreams are transient, temporary, life also, material life, we've got some fixed number of years and it's all temporary. So we do whatever we do for our maintenance, for our whatever creative desires, whatever. But then it is on the basis of spiritual principles, so that we don't compromise on that. That is the most important, because purpose of life is to realize our spiritual identity and stop this birth and death. So Dhruva Maharaja could understand all that because he was fully in Krishna consciousness. And he said, oh, I was in complete Maya, thinking that, oh, they are my enemies, they are my friends. It's all illusory. Nobody can do anything to us unless Krishna sanctions it. So best is surrender to Krishna. Krishna can control all that. He can stop. Whoever is trying to harm us, he can stop it. He allows it so that he's purifying us. Come, come. He's, it's like in the movies and all that. The hero, he wants the heroine to understand his great chivalry and how he is the great, oh, Prince Charming who can protect her and all that. So he tells his friends, okay, you all act it out. Now on the road, when this heroine is coming, the lady of my heart, she walks here, then all of you do something, hoot, whistle, try to this thing, harass her a bit, and then she'll be so, bachao, bachao, she will scream. And then I will come, and the knight in shining armor, I will come there and I will just give you people some kicks, so called, and then all of you disappear, and then the lady love will be mine. So that's what I mean, set up like that. So Krishna, his own energies, material energies are all his own. And all these different difficulties which we are, this thing is for us, the lady love of his. He wants us to surrender to him and become loving to him. So he only sets up all these things. And then he wants us to surrender. Oh, Krishna, protect. All these things are harassing me. He only set it up. And he can easily, they're all going to disappear once we take shelter of Krishna. So that's why devotee is not disturbed. Maitat prartitam vyartam chikitseva gatayusi prasadhya jagat atmanam tapasa dusprasadanam bhavachiddham ayacheham bhavam bhagya vivarjita. It's very difficult to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But in my case, although I've satisfied the super soul of the whole universe, I've prayed only for useless things. My activities were exactly like treatment given to a person who's already dead. Just see how unfortunate I am. For in spite of meeting the Supreme Lord, who can cut one's link with birth and death, I've prayed for the same conditions again. Kaput. Sometimes it so happens that a devotee engaged in loving service of the Lord desires some material benefit in exchange for this service. This is not the proper way to discharge devotional service. Out of ignorance, of course, sometimes the devotee does so. But Dhruv Maharaja regrets his personal behavior in this connection. So we have to learn lessons from others, right? We don't have to also go through it ourselves in order to understand. So he's saying that is why we pray to Venkata Chalapati. What is that? Venkata. He cuts all the bondage of to material things. So he's saying that I met the Supreme Person. And then what happened? I should have gone with him and stay there permanently with him in bliss. That is our original position. And instead, because of my childishness, I have to stay here. And he thought it's very difficult to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But he was able to satisfy that the Lord came in front of him. And because I prayed only for useless things, I got that only. So when we are praying, we have to be very careful what we are praying for. That's very important. Krishna, he will, okay, you prayed for that, take it. And after that, we can't say, no, 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 Krishna, please, please. No, no. You can say, but you have to wait some time. You have to get purified. and again please the Lord and say, now enough. But then anyway, Krishna said, you have to take this 36,000. You prayed for it, take it, and you have you be there. Now you cannot argue with Krishna. That's it. He's stuck. So that's why Prabhupada warned, don't pray for heavenly planets and all that. And then you'll be stuck up over there, or even material life. We put our own propositions. Krishna, I want this only, this only. And then after that, you get that, then you realize, oh, that is not good for me at all. What did I ask for? Because of this, so many other problems. Better I'd left it to Krishna only to decide what's good for me. And then we'll always be happy. Though it's like going to a doctor. Sometimes we have an ailment. Doctor has to do some treatment, which may not be very pleasant at the moment. But then we submit to the doctor, a good doctor, not nowadays doctors, but generally, if he's a good doctor, and then he's doing his job properly, and we surrender to him, then even though we hate the doctor for giving us so much pain at that moment, but we know that in very soon I'm going to be fine. So that is the kind of trust we must have in Krishna. You take charge of my life. That's why he says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mami Kam Sharanam Vraja. He demands that. Don't use your own intelligence and say, I'll do this dharma, that dharma. Kick it off and come to only one dharma, which is my dharma, Sanatana dharma, which is following Krishna's instructions, only leaving everything to him. You do whatever you want. And we know that Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam, he's our best well-wishing friend. That's why we can trust him. So that is the very good, it's a very good proposition. And that's, we should have the intelligence to understand that. If we don't know Krishna, then we see everything from our own perspectives, from the perspective of temporary realities, from the perspective of temporary gains, comfort for the body and mind. And that's due to ignorance. So that's why he's saying, how, just see how unfortunate I am. For in spite of meeting the Supreme Lord, who can cut one's link with birth and death, I've prayed for the same conditions again. So that is why we should never, this thing must always be fixed in our mind. When we take any decisions, I don't want to regret like this. Ask for temporary things, and then we think, oh, I did so much devotional service. Imagine, I chanted Hare Krishna mantra, and I could have got Krishna Prem and gone back to Godhead. Instead, again, I have to take another birth, maybe in a much richer, better material circumstances. But what's the use again in this horrible material world in Kali Yuga? Or even in this life, we compromise values just for some temporary gain, thinking, oh, I really wanted this. I wanted everyone to glorify me. I want to be the greatest. Some nonsense we do. And then, then we lose this opportunity. Prabhupada said that those who are seeking that kind of material successes, they compromise and they do that. Sometimes devotees, they are devotees, but then also they do so many things which are not ideal, like harming other devotees or jostling for position and power, doing politics. These are they are doing. Then you can, oh, what will, how come? Then what is the, are these people also going to Godhead, back to Godhead? Oh, really? Because everybody, normally they think you chant 16 rounds, follow 4 regs, that's it, you're going back to Godhead. No. If you have such desires in your heart for position and power, and you are doing all these things, then you'll go to heavenly planets. Prabhupada said, some of my disciples are going to the heavenly planets. He said that. So it is not any guarantee that because I'm chanting 16 rounds, 4 regulative principles, I'll definitely go back to God in my next life. No, we have to now only purify ourselves, so that in our heart, we have to keep on considering this, because there'll be so many desires will keep coming. And not only that, we see other people and we imagine, oh, how happy they are. I also wish I was in this position. That is all Maya's tricks to play on, that's what Dhruv Maharaja is saying. I got tricked by Maya. Why were I had such a beautiful spiritual master like Narada Muni? And how did my intelligence fail me? So we have also, the same parampara, Dhruv Maharaja's parampara only. Narada Muni, there's no difference in quality between him and all the guru we have. And this Prabhupada, I don't know who's Prabhupada, is such an exalted personality. And we should not allow our intelligence to weaken and giving. We're very, very fortunate to get this kind of situation where, this is the most exalted path. Exalted in one lifetime, we can get the absolute truth. There is no other path. When you look around, Sanatan Dharma is very nice. Really, everybody, they're all in their own way worshipping. I respect them and accept them. But they don't have this basic knowledge which we have got. And it is our duty to, as far as possible, to share it with others, because such pure knowledge and we are able to understand it even in this age. It's really a miracle that, and so we must not waste it. Having got this great privilege, we should really be greedy to maximize the benefit, so that not only should I not regret at the end of my life what a waste I could have gone back to Godhead, and also not only about myself, what about so many others? I can help them if I become a little more pure and perfect. So many more will be influenced, will be inspired, to also follow. So that's why this Guru Maharaja's thing is very, very educative for us. Krishna has given such examples in the Srimad Bhagavatam so that we can learn from that. Not only the fact that, okay, he surrendered to Krishna, he prayed to him and all that, but there are other lessons of why this regret should not be there. That because he desired this, he was desiring for the kingdom. Even when he was doing devotional service, he had it in the back of his mind. And that's why, because he didn't completely get rid of it, when he saw the Supreme Lord also, he had to stay back for some time. So it's very important when we are doing devotional service to kick out all these thoughts, not retain them, because this is the danger. Kick them out, because we have to keep on understanding what is the purpose behind all this. What am I doing it for? What is real success? What is real happiness? Who am I pleasing for? How will I be happy? That is very, very important. We must be always focused on, why am I doing everything? What only when we have proper motivation, proper focus, we'll feel completely satisfied. Not to hanker after something which Krishna is not destined for us, we should never hanker for. Whatever Krishna will give me, whatever I require, whatever will make me happy, whatever will make my life successful. That is real intelligence. You see, all the peaceful people, there are many Brahmanas and all that, how peaceful they are. Then you should wonder, how come they are peaceful? Why we are not peaceful? Because Brahmanas have realized that only Brahman there is happiness, not in this material world. So they really are not at all interested in all these things. So we should think, oh, they are considered to be the most intelligent and they are very self-satisfied. So why I should hanker for all temporary things? That is, we have, then only we have to do devotional service when our full consciousness, Krishna consciousness. In Maya consciousness, if we simply do devotional service, that will not, that's very slow. It's like putting water into the fire. You're putting little ghee, the fire is burning, and you're also putting water in it. So that's Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Okay, we'll go for prayers.
Mataji, Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisance.
Yes, Rupamai.
Uh, Last line, Mataji, you said doing Krishna consciousness, doing devotional service in Maya consciousness. I didn't understand that much. Doing Krishna consciousness.
Just like Dhruv Maharaj, doing devotional service in Maya consciousness means our motive is something material. We may be doing same chanting, arati, this, that, whatever. But what is our motivation? We are only thinking of material suffering, ending material suffering, or becoming better, asking for temporary gains. If our consciousness is about the temporary things, that is Maya consciousness, right? We are supposed to think of how to please Krishna. Krishna, help me to serve you better. Make me think about you and how to please you. Whatever activities we are doing, that's okay. Even your material job you can do. But the goal should be how to make Krishna pleased and satisfied. Instead, if you are thinking how to make myself pleased and satisfied, so that is Maya consciousness, isn't it?
Yes. One more question, Mataji. How to know whether we are really getting purified? How to know, Mataji?
Just our mind will become more peaceful and happy. That is all. If we are feeling more and more peaceful and happy, that means we are making advancement. The disturbances, which are material attachments, are being replaced by Krishna. And so that is advancement. You don't need any other thing. Just if you're feeling more and more peaceful, happy, contented, then yes, then contented in devotional service, we are getting more taste to do devotional activities. We're not doing it simply mechanically because we have to do it. I promised, so I do it out of duty. That is good. In the beginning, we do it as duty, but the more that but we do it because of enjoying to do it, and we that is how. And we have to really pray for that. It is not just simply, okay, I keep climbing the stairs and one after another, automatically it will come. No, for higher consciousness, we have to struggle and we have to, because it is dependent on our desires. So that's why we have to keep checking, what is my desire? What is my goal? Is it simply to achieve Krishna or all these other temporary things also? So one by one, if we are able to replace that by making Krishna as our only goal, then we are going in the mode of goodness. See, we cannot become transcendental immediately. First, from mode of ignorance and passion, we have to go to the mode of goodness. And from there, we can completely transcend. So, we must have mode of goodness goals. That only will satisfy. Because if you have external things like I must become the most famous person, or I must become the richest person, or everyone should, or whatever, external sense gratification, then that will be very disturbing for the mind. And we will hardly think of Krishna. Even when we are chanting, our mind will be reeling, going from one thing to another. See, that is what. But if while you're chanting, and chanting is the best way to make out how much advancement you're making. If when you're chanting, you're only hearing the holy name and not being forced by the mind to think of all these other things, then that is advancement. Actually, that is only advancement. The mind is controlled and you are surrendered to Krishna in the heart. That is advancement.
Okay. Thank you so much.
And that you can know every day, because if our chanting is improving, less and less we are troubled by the mind, and more we are able to hear the holy name and think about Krishna and desiring to serve him every day a little more, and then we'll definitely make it.
Great, Krishna. Send me a WhatsApp message to remind me to send the coding.
Abhay Prabhu, is he there?
No,
Yes,
Mataji.
Mataji.
Okay.
I'm here, Mataji. Yes, ma'am.
Abhay Prabhu, Prabhu's asking you to send a WhatsApp message, asking him to send the recordings, list of recordings, no? Or you are supposed to, yeah. Yeah, okay. He just request.
So I will request him to send all those recordings. Okay, Mataji. I'll
Yes.
do that.
Okay.
Okay, sure, Mataji. Okay, Mataji.
So we'll go for prayers now.